Welcome, everybody, to the Esports Arena, North American Apex Legends Weekly. I'm Jet Set Jamerson. Of course, joining me for the evening, I've got Tom T Squared Cruz taking a break from the filming of Mission Impossible 50 here to join us to cast this week's games. Tom, how are you doing today?
Has there only been 49 Mission Impossibles?
Only 49.
That's it?
Only 49, yeah. No, but we've got some exciting Apex Legends this week because we've got some new champions that came in from the ALGS Summer Circuit looking to kind of repeat that performance this week. And so I'm really excited. What are your thoughts going into today's matches?
I don't know. Is it a coincidence that whoever wins the Esports Arena Weekly before the ALGS ends up winning the tournament? Is that coincidence, or is it
And
just
then you
everybody
gotta
so damn smart that they play in these for practice?
Yeah, there's also, you got to avoid that hot sick curse as well. Complexity, just waiting, not getting that VOD review from him. But yeah, we've got a lot of great things going on. It's going to be a best of 4. And so you got to try and score as much as you can across 4 games. It's a much shorter format than we're used to seeing in the summer circuits, along with the regular ALGS and GLLs. And so how do our teams actually accrue those points?
Yeah, so everyone's usually going for placement points. You naturally just pick up kills on the way. As you can see, that's the scores up there. We have, again, a little bit shorter than the actual ALGS because we are running these every single week, and we do want to make sure the players aren't getting Apex out and burnt out. But I don't know what's worse, either getting a hot sick review or being on the cover of Madden. Not really sure which one ends up cursing you even more.
But the thing is, I think more than anything else right now, it's showing kind of like the parity amongst the teams, the kind of equity and talent that's across the board right now, both NA and EU. It's hard to say if there's like a best team, maybe in EU Gambit and over in NA. If you're looking at just like consistency across the board, it's kind of like Rogue. But right now, we haven't had too many repeat winners so far since the long streak that TSM had been running. And so today, teams will be competing for a $1,000. That is our prize pool. $500 going to first place, $300 to second, and $200 going to third. And so it's only the top 3 that'll be placing in the money like we do every single week. And like I said, we've got a lot of great teams competing. We got Team Solo Mid. We've got CLG, that's Madness's squad, Dream Team, Liquid. Again, a lot of the repeat offenders, I guess you could say, coming into our games once again. So this is another stacked lobby. And like you said, some of the best practice you can get going into competitive weekends.
Yeah, we saw TSM busting out the Revenant and Crypto during the ALGS, and that was kind of unexpected. But if you've been watching the Esports Arena Weeklies, you know that this is a composition that they've ran in the past and been very successful with. So they're here to kind of perfect that and try new strategies. And a lot of teams kind of busting out new strategies because we don't know exactly what the meta is going to be, especially because we see Complexity winning with Bloodhound, which I don't think anybody was expecting. So I wonder how many more Bloodhounds are running around in ranked after this last weekend. But yeah, we're starting this one off, and we're going to see exactly where everyone's going to land. Everyone likes to establish their spots early in the game. You're going to most likely expect and anticipate them to continue to check these landing spots out as the rest of these games unfold.
Yeah, and generally also, these are the kind of games heading into any kind of big competition where you're able to establish that drop spot if you are getting contested, or if you're a new squad. This is where you're able to try and, let your intentions be known. On board with Liquid, and we're seeing their kind of default drop going out when they get the beacon over here by No Name. So Liquid's Casper will be able to pick that up for us. So let's go ahead and take a look. But already we get the indication that it looks like it's going to be a fragment circle. Could go over to No Name, could go over to the train tracks just between No Name and Fragment East.
It could just be exactly where they're at too. So it's going to be pretty interesting as we see a knock happening on over towards Sorting, which is a great place to land. You can even split the loot here, but Grit's going to get knocked down early, and they're going to get that early res on his squad mate there. That's going to be Big Bean brand, and they're just going down ASAP. That's going to be Bowser and his squad there with the Havoc. And it's not what you want to see. You have a purple armor. If you get thirsted there, you're going to give that armor right back on over. You've already had Big Bean Brand knocked once, and there's Nicewig and the rest of the squad coming up there. So last person alive is going to be this Wraith. And yeah, you do have a R99 and Hemlock, great start, but you're not going to really be able to do much 3 versus 1, especially because you just got ripped for all your shields. So I'm
Ooh,
not
Lane
anticipating
wants
him to
this
live much
win,
longer.
and
Yeah.
Bowser wants to finish that off. But yeah, I believe former teammates Bowser and Lane from Fire before they disbanded about 4 months ago. I really can't remember the timeline anymore. And this is a new drop that we're also seeing coming out from the Yeet Squad here, dropping over. Of course, when you don't have Sentinels in the lobby, you got to imagine one of the prime spots is to be able to play over there by Sorting Factory. This
No
was their
doubt.
typical spot beforehand over here at Lava City, but now we're on board with Dream Team, who are in a fight. And I think they might have already gotten a knock before this all started off. We're already down to 55 players left in this lobby. Ooh, that armor check hitting for that white, you want to push forward off that.
See, I'd rather fight over at Sorting than fighting over at Lava City early. It looks like the lobby accidentally crashed right there. Probably will be across the entire server. So we'll have to check to see if that was everybody in the lobby. And if so, we're just going to get a fresh restart. So fortunately for the teams that died, I think they're going to get a second chance right there. And we're going to get a full fresh restart. But going and talking a little bit of the strategy that we saw right there. There's 3 things that we saw. One, to start, we saw Team Liquid going on over towards Geyser. And if what you'll notice when you're going over towards Geyser is you have to worry about the team that's on the Overlook side. And if they're going to see your Pathfinder dropping No Name by himself, they're sometimes going to send the entire team over there to drop on him. And you can't hit the beacon early. And it really screws up your loot path. The Overlook team will sometimes throw their game and their path just to try to get that early kill point and try to snowball that. So that's why you saw the rotation coming in where 2 people went over towards No Name. Casper hits the beacon. Once they realize they're not contested, that other player goes immediately into the cave. They'll hit the cave and then go and split Geyser as Casper takes No Name to himself. So that's the first thing that we saw.
Yeah, it's not just the Overlook team. We've also seen TSM from Fragment East do that push because they understand also they do the scouting. They know how teams drop according to what the beacon spawns are like. And we've seen in the past TSM do the exact same thing where they'll just go ahead and drop on him and get that early kill. Liquid have been able to recover from the past, but like you mentioned, it does screw up your rotation timings. We've seen them get stuck at Geyser because they need to get the beacon. They needed to go ahead and res him. And then all of a sudden they're just stuck in Geyser getting 3rd, 4th, and 5th party by squads. And so those early game tactics and strategies are super important.
Yeah, by the time you're done looting, next thing you know, the team from Lava City is starting to rotate, and rotating through Geyser is such an easy rotation for these guys. Even sometimes the Dome team will come. Heck, sometimes the Sorting team will come over there if they want to take a really, really safe route. And then the other thing that we saw was, speaking of Sorting Factory, was a team that landed there. And why does Nicewig, Six, and Bowser want to land there if they're playing a Pathfinder? It's because you're getting a guaranteed beacon every time. So if I had to choose between the two, I would say Sorting, and I'm curious to see if they're going to get contested at that side again.
Yeah, we'll have some extra time to talk about that as we do reset the lobby and get all of our teams in. And apologies, guys, for that crash, but it's kind of just what happens in the online nature of tournaments. And so, again, apologies for that. We are going to go ahead and take a short break. But when we get back, we will restart game number 1 of the North American Apex Legends Weekly here at the Esports Arena. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. All right, welcome everybody back to the Apex Legends Esports Arena Weekly here, where we did have a crash in the first game, and so we're just restarting that first lobby, and that's basically kind of like a fresh restart for a lot of teams who didn't have the greatest of starts, as we saw their fights going on over at Lava City and fights going over at Sorting Factory, and so what do you do at this point? Do you, if you're those teams, do you drop there again?
Yeah, I think that you drop there again, and then you just get ready again for the packet flooding, and you hit up your little minions over there with the hacks, and be like, guys, flood the servers again. We died. No, I'm just kidding. That's not. We all know that's not
uh,
happening, but
all right.
might as well just land there again. Like if you're gonna go and make any adjustments, now is the time to do it. You very rarely get these type of instances, but sorting that spot in like Lava City, they have such good loot and such an important first fight that you want to try to get these early kill points, and you also want to establish that that's going to be your spot. But again, if you end up losing this twice in a row, you're gonna have to find another spot to land. Like No Name would be a good spot because we saw that Casper's the only one that lands over there. Maybe like Survey is an area that you go and check out, but looks like they were able to get a majority of the good area, which is out over towards the big snake side, and then you have Bowser at a very good spot too, getting middle. So I don't think they got contested. We'll see. They're putting some pinks down. I wonder if that's because the enemy team's in the area. But when it comes to getting the loot and sorting right now, Bowser and friends have the priority spot.
We came in just in time for that haymaker fight over at at Lava Fissure. On board with Murdoch. They got to be careful. They're already scanned. You know exactly who's here. It's going to be complexity coming in, but it looks like the fight is going to actually take place as well over at Sorting Factory once again. Girth getting that first knock onto 6, and we'll be able to finish him off. Well, this fight is still it's going to be at distance. I don't think you can really try and push this with the purple armor Gibraltar up top. So yeah, we're changing over to the Sorting Factory fight now. As you can see, Wig, he's got that Prowler as now they're trying to converge, but they got to be careful. This is a 2v3. They don't really have him in a good spot, and it looks like they're just going to try and back out, try to find a better way to approach this fight.
Yeah, and we were wondering if they landed over towards sorting, and they did. It's just surprising to see Six, the Wraith player, go down so quickly. He must have got double teamed, or Girth must have just had fantastic shots because you're not expecting that to happen, and you're not expecting to fight that soon. You typically want to loot with your teammates, meet back up with your teammates, and if you overextend like that, you typically can get out if you're Six. So it must have been something that he wasn't expecting. Maybe somebody was a little bit more powerful than he anticipated, but that's going to be Nasky getting a knock on over to Casper, finishing Casper as well. Then you're going to have Murdog over here stuck inside of the epicenter building, which is not what you want to be if you have one person down and little to no health. And the team that just won the last tournament flying at you with the Bloodhound scan. So easy clap for complexity and some points on the board for them early.
All right, here's that fight. Once again, it's going to be a 2v3 going in for the melee here as they get the knock onto Wig. And this time around, it looks like they will be able to win out this fight. That's going to be Yeet Squad going down. But another third party, I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize. There we go. Just Watson comes up. And I think that's the Root Koreans coming in. And what a quick rotation. I don't know exactly where they dropped, but they came in hot and heavy. It had to be from Dome, maybe even from Tree.
The moment when you're playing Watson and then you're rezzing and you look at another Watson and you're like, wait a second, I'm freaking playing Watson.
All right, TSM now coming in for the third party here. I've so much action is taking place right now in the game number 1 that I already forgot. It was Nasky, right, who was able to get that knock onto Casper that was over here, and so the Danes, who are of course currently enjoying a nice little LAN party over there in Denmark, and playing in our tournament right now, but TSM are going to be able to bully them out of this position, and we've seen them run this composition. It's a high fragging composition. Getting these early game kills is very important for TSM.
Yeah, and Rep's going to be able to charge that Evo shield very easy with the crypto drone. So curious to see what his actual setup is, but how back on there with the Wraith and his typical setup there with the R9 and the Mastiff. You have a Prowler coming out for Albrelelli, and then you have Naughty Sumo and Godsent. So looks like Kubsky trying out Naughty, who just recently became a free agent. So I wonder if this is some sort of possible team comp that they're running, and and if they're looking to, run with this specific team, or if this is just a bunch of friends getting together and just kind of getting some practice, and remains to be seen. Sometimes when you're just doing that and it goes well, you end up forming something without even realizing it. So we'll see what they're doing. They're stuck on this
Oh
truck,
no.
obviously playing
Oh
edge,
no.
but here comes the crypto drone, and that's a scary thing. You do have resources though, so that's the bubble coming down, and you can anticipate the fight happening immediately.
Yeah, they just push it instantly. Really great push coming out from Tech. They know how to run this composition. They get that defensive bubble coming out now. It's all up to Kovsky, who generally, yeah, he's going to be the last one alive, and he's the last one to go down, and that's going to be another squad out. And this is one of the fastest paced early games that we've seen, especially in a game number one. This is something that's categorized by game number four, where teams know they have to go all out. And so I'm not used to this kind of pace. 41 players are remaining here now left in this lobby, on board with Pride, Trocky, and Premier, who have taken this position. They've got the Costa composition, and they've recognized, yeah, the zone's basically going to end in this area.
Yeah, different circle than obviously the first one because it's a restart. So these guys getting the beacon, getting into a premier spot very early, and also with the caustic, super solid building to hold down. Any one of these buildings will do, but it looks like they're pinging it out over towards the donut, maybe because they're not extremely confident that's going to pull on this side. But if you're on this side, you might as well stay there with a caustic. I mean, donut's a great spot to have, but this spot is a great spot as well because you're going to get a lot of people that are rotating out, and you're going to get a lot of the kills from the people on donut, from under the bridge, rotating through the choke. There's multiple chokes over here as well. So yeah, put that zip line down. Might as well get comfy while you can, and just set up here. There's really not much that's going to happen for these guys. Probably for another 5 minutes, realistically. They're just running into good spots, getting into a good spot. All the action is going to be from the from the non-Pathfinder teams, from these Gibraltar teams. You like this team over here going into Geyser. Everybody that's rotating on over towards the edge, trying to get into that spot.
Yeah, so we're on board with Spachemin, Kors Appa, and Young Hong Kong right now, who are looking to finish off the remnants of Liquid. I don't know if Liquid were able to actually recover. It looks like they were, and so Casper will go down for the second time in this game. And very unfortunate start, and that's what happens. We were talking about in the game before. If they end up getting challenged there on that beacon, and things go right for them, their rotations are just completely screwed. They end up getting stuck in Geyser. You see the rotations coming out, and it's very difficult to recover off of that right now. Here we are on the other side of on the eastern edge of where a lot of teams think the circle are going to be ending, and it was Dream Team who found initial kills on their first game on Lava City. I don't know if they were challenged this time around, but here it is, TSM making the push, and they thought they were in time for the third party for this fight, but again, it just went so handedly one-sided that TSM aren't going to be able to get this third party.
I love Revenant. You always feel like such a boss once you hit the death totem. You're just ready for death. You want to die every single time that you hit that death totem. If you don't, then you're not really utilizing it the right way. Here comes some more action again, Jamerson. This has been such a fast-paced game, and I believe that's probably going to be Tech's team again with some ult cells chasing down Pickett, Rekinishu, and Crummy. But you see Crummy has the portal down, and these guys are chasing pretty hard into very solid armors and a blue armor swap that's sitting here. So Pickett's going to portal through, and that is going to be Tech Pandas and Saucer. So this is a very good team that they're fighting with good armors. They're going to have to really play this one tight if they want to get the dub here. And now that the crypto drone's down, they're going to have to just back off. They realize that their opportunity and their window to win that fight has gone pretty quickly. So they're just going to go and reset, try to get some information, and then decide exactly what they want to do. But I think that's a smart play from Tech's team. Again, once that drone's down, once you don't get that initial beam, you're really putting yourself out there from not only getting third-partied, but also just losing the fight in general in a straight-up 1v1.
Yeah, here we are now on board with Nasky Dolphin and Mentratza, who look like they might be taking a fight here, but is this complexity that's on the other side? You got to imagine not very many teams are still here when they've seen the ring. And so I'd be interested to see this fight. Very spread out currently right now as they're trying to catch them out. It is going to be Reptar. He's got that charge rifle. We know how deadly he can be with it right now. He's on that Bloodhound. Is going to pop the Beast of the Hunt to get him a little bit more vision here, but the Q out. So that's going to be some damage dodged as Reptar does get the knock on to Mandy. but that's a long distance for them to try and cover. We'll see if they can really try and capitalize on that. You see Monsoon pushing up, and there's a Gibraltar bubble coming out to get that res, and now it's about trying to get this refrag on him. I don't know how much he'll be able to heal up on that. The Gibraltar ultimate also coming down to give him a little bit more coverage here. He might actually just hurt himself more than anything else. Another good shot coming in from Reptar, who, again, is a beast on this charge rifle. And there it is, as you got the defensive bombardment coming out from from Shiny this time. They'll be able to finish him off. Nasty goes down, and there's very little left of this team.
Reptar, he's definitely named after the green dinosaur from Rugrats, right? I mean,
I can't imagine
Reptar, right?
many other Reptars there are.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay. If you guys are too young for Rugrats, then you'd have to Google it. But classic show. Okay, it's right up if you like Hey Arnold, things like that. But Reptar, one of the only players that sticks continuously on this Bloodhound. And I just want to know how he shoots when he's in the Beast of the Hunt, because I would play Bloodhound, but once my screen goes black and white and everyone turns red, I just struggle so bad hitting what's in front of me. I don't know if that's anybody else, but he does a great job on it. And it's just so scary when you're playing against Complexity. One, when you're getting charge rifled. Two, when you're getting charged at. And then three, once you're getting Bloodhound scanned.
All right, we got another EU squad here. Sirius, Chentrick, and Hiarka right now who are controlling this choke. And this is one of the power positions to actually hold when you see this circle here to try and gatekeep any teams coming in from the north hand rotation. And it looks like they're just going to go ahead and route that by going over to the Geyser connector there. So they can avoid that fight, or they could just come back for it when they are in a little bit of a better position or understand what their position is right now. So I fully expect Complexity to turn around for this.
Right. The problem is about this spot is that there is 12 squads down. Typically, there's around 16, 17 squads at this point. So a lot of your kill opportunities are kind of gone because of the fact that the lobby has been so aggressive. But you're right. Complexity is that team that's going to go and add pressure. But there's multiple teams. There's teams at both chokes, as you can see. So Monsoon's going to hit the phase, and he's going to get out of there ASAP. But you have great control here with this charge rifle and great help from Reptar, who's just been laying down shots. And that's the thing that you'll notice about Complexity is they are willing to take fights, but they're not going to just go charge in blindly and get third party into something, and they're not going to go and risk their lives. As soon as you get down in a situation like that, without having your a huge fight here going on, you're right. They also have the death totem too, so this is important that they get these knocks. They do. Navlo's going to drop. Reps gets one as well, and they drop that team fairly quickly without even having to go back into the death totem form. That's going to disappear in about 10 seconds. So it's really important for them to try to figure out what's going on here. But there is a lot of action over towards these chokes, much more than probably teams were anticipating, because once you're not inside of that area across from sorting where this is going to end, you're getting gate kept pretty hard. So you're going to have some sort of plan, whether it's, coming in here and getting aggressive with your death totem and your ult if you're TSM, or if it's slowly pushing down and getting in there if you're the other team over towards the choke. Complexity is probably going to have the hardest time getting in out of all the teams we've seen so far.
You have to also imagine that retreat coming out from Complexity, even though we saw a big crack, was also the idea that TSM's going to be in the area. They kind of know what the rotation patterns are like for a lot of these teams. They know who are in the area, and so I like that they were able to back off. That the kind of call from there, I think, might be attributed to a player like iShiny, who knows how to play like the edge, Fnatic NA before of course they were dropped by the org. That was kind of like one of their signature plays if they weren't ever able to make it into center circle. And he knows how to navigate those rotations on the edges when they're not in the opportune position. And so we're seeing a lot coming together with this new squad, with the addition of Shiny right now. And even though we've lost Lou and seeing him in competitive, I think it was still a really great pickup for Complexity to bring on iShiny.
Yeah, Shiny is one of the more sound players in terms of strategy. Had an opportunity to team with him for a Twitch Rivals tournament, and we were finding great spots consistently. And it's a lot of times the path of least resistance that you're going to go and take. And even if it's a little sliver of the map that you're getting in on, he was always very smart in terms of which way you're rotating, but mainly communicating which way that you were going to go and do it. So you were never in a spot where you weren't thinking multiple steps ahead. But here's a big crypto drone coming in. Madness with some great shots, but it's also going to be a caustic ult at the same time. So a lot of resources being wasted on over towards this choke. But this is a pretty big fight. Vaxilon over here on the Caustic, you can see has the AoE, keeping this team out. But this team's getting extremely aggressive. And Madness done. What a grenade.
Yeah, Nate's from behind as well. I think they're getting sandwiched in right now as Madness, he's getting helped out by Vax's gas right now, but now he's dropped down to 1 HP as Panders gets that first knock. And so, yeah, it is going to be, it looks like 3 squads in the area generally right now. And the sandwich is just so bad as Madness has already gone down. Vax does have some cover to work with, but again, it's about getting choked out. The team that's on the other side of this fight can just slowly walk them down. They're waiting for the trade. They already know one's down, but we're back on board with TSM currently playing at this choke once again. Imperial Hal pushes up. He's got that Mastiff, and Revs backs him up. Chentric's gonna go down, and again, just so much action taking place here in the early game. Well, I guess we're in the mid game now. 8 squads remaining, 23 players left in the lobby.
Yeah, and you could see that Pandas and Saucer got knocks onto Complexity. And I believe that also Madness's team was in the vicinity as well, too. So you can see Rez coming in. Great portal help there. Monsoon covering that portal. Reptar is going to get Rez. Now, this is where things start to get hairy, Jamerson. Circle 4 always is going to be a just complete bloodbath and brawl. When you have so many teams that have been playing Edge, looking at their chances to get in. And now we start to see what the best spots were. And the teams that have been posturing over towards the area across from sorting now have to make their way towards sorting over towards the donuts. Remember when that team with the caustic inside of the building was considering going over there, it looks like it did hard pull over towards that side, which I don't think a lot of teams were anticipating. So this is fairly out in the open. The team that's set up right now, best would be Rogue. They don't have many kill points, if any, on the board, but they have the best position in the game right now, owning a majority of sorting factory, if not all of that, and then getting ready for the new circle as well.
Complexity, we're able to get out of that position by running up the west-hand side. But again, it's about making this cross. What do you do here? I don't know if the fence is in for this. So they might have to go across the river here as Monsoon is leading the charge for them. And they might have a little bit of a cover to work with. There it is. Yeah, they've got some angles to work with, and now they're just getting the third-party kills. That long-range charge rifle shot still coming in as they are hitting, but it's TSM that are coming in, and Reptar's going to be the first one to go down. Imperial Hal with that huge spray. They should be able to finish off Complexity here as TSM having masters at this timing now with this composition.
Yeah, and they're also scouting where they want to set up next. And again, Rogue is in a great position. TSM, though, coming in last. That's what you want to do when you're playing the edges. You want to be the latest team that's coming in there. And Complexity wasn't expecting a team to still be behind them. Look at that spray coming in. Great shots there from Sweet. Everybody just in great position for Rogue to pick off. Everyone's fighting, pushing in from the edge. They're low on resources. They don't know exactly where all the players are. They don't even know which teams are on top of them. And it's going to be Rogue just benefiting from all of that.
Yeah, and you talked about it in the preamble to the match, to this first game, that you just play for placements and naturally the kills will be coming towards you, and Rogue understand that. It's just the fundamentals of Battle Royales and Apex Legends, and they commit to that kind of play very heavily, and that's why they're one of the most consistent teams in Apex Legends right now. And it looks like TSM, possibly Tech, could be going for this scout, as right now he doesn't really see much. As Rogue have given up that building, they're playing just for this position. They've got the high ground. It's going to be difficult for any team to really try and push them up here. As their control, we saw it early on. There was almost no other team on this side of the map, and so they've had huge map control over on this side of the map.
Yeah, exactly. The only way that they lose this is if someone like Snipe Down, who doesn't have any mobility, ends up getting beamed like from that team that was across. So that team right there could have been paying attention and just focusing the guys that were in front of them and trying to get the team out of the most powerful position. If they were able to do that, something good would have been able to happen. But you see Albrelli gets dropped right down below exactly where Rogue was setting up. And then Prodigy Aces and the Dream Team are trying to make their way on over there. That's what that portal play is going for. But that portal play is going to be able to put them in a good position to try to set up. A lot of teams are going to have to get over towards this area immediately. There's only a couple spots to play. As you can see, the zone is extremely small.
Yeah, Rogue, I think, might have just been the saviors for TSM there. They might have been able to get the recover and the res. I'm not quite sure yet. Here comes the EMP out from Rep. Says, yeah, TSM have been able to regroup as a full 5. They're pushing forward. Albrelli gets the knock back over to Vuzby, and so they answer back now as they'll be able to get this thirst, and the circle just closes with enough coverage for them as Rogue are just making sure that their backs are clear right now, allowing TSM to just dwindle down the rest of the lobby here. As there's just, I think, one player left on that team. No, Dream Team is out, and Rogue have deflected the push up top coming out from Tech's team. Sorcerer and them out now. We're down to 3 squads left. Rogue, once again, they've got the best position here. They've got the high ground. It's Monsoon as a solo. You got TSM on the low ground and Rogue here on the high ground.
Yeah, Monsoon may end up kind of griefing. Oh no, they're gonna go and just focus him immediately. So that was the opportunity for TSM to go and push there. I was gonna say Monsoon may accidentally grief Rogue's game here, and I mean not really accidentally, like kind of purposefully, because that's what you want to do is get them out of the lobby, right? But he could have really ruined that for them if he was to rat it out a little bit more and if TSM was to go and make their play. But I believe what the opportunity for TSM is going to be a death totem, and Ultic still needs to get popped just like what Snipedown's doing. And I'm curious to see if TSM has any, because if they're able to get a crypto drone and a Revenant ult down, they could make a push. But there's going to be so many fences up here, it's going to be very difficult. And I'm curious to see if TSM's in at any point down below. I believe they are. So this is going to be tough. You're going to have multiple people from Rogue looking down towards this hole right here, and there it is, the drone coming in. It's going to hit Death Totem, probably popping up as well. Keep in mind that the drone does kill the fences, so great job by Reps.
Yeah, you got to remember that with the full composition, with the full execution, that it does become a 300 HP advantage that TSM are able to execute with, and that will be it. TSM really coming into their own with this composition now, and what a beautiful execution coming out from them. You got to remember, if you hit all 3 members with that EMP, that's going to be 50 shields off of 3 members. That's 150. You soak up damage with the Death Totem. You come back with another 50 HP. That's the 300 HP difference. That's a huge, massive team fight. That's a half of a team that you're coming in with.
It's a lot of math, Jamerson. Great job there. No, but I mean, you're right. They're starting to come in their own on this comp, and I really like to see them pull something off like that towards the end of the game and show what they're made of and show how this team composition is supposed to be ran. And TSM said, "I ain't no bitch." That's what they just said. You just saw it. They just bullied their way into there. That's one of the best teams in the world that they go and execute that strategy on. And it's not easy to go and do that so flawlessly. They were really hoping that those fences were going to be just their lifesaver, their lifeline that entire time. They've totally forgot that that EMP is going to destroy the fences, and they need to get ready to replace fences. And all players need to be watching the rope there. I'm not sure how you allow TSM just to freely come up that zip line. Maybe you're just like hitting cells or whatever it is, but you should be looking down at that point, getting ready to beam these guys. But TSM, they're really great at team fighting. And now you're going to see Rogue, a team that's not able to get a lot of kills and get good placement, compared to a TSM now that has changed their strategy. They've been stuck in the same spot as Rogue has before, where they're too good at the game almost in terms of finding the end zones, keeping all these teams out, but just not getting enough kills because all the teams are fighting on the edge and they're all dead by the time they reach that final circle. So TSM changed their strategy. They said, we're going to put Pathfinder in our back pocket. We already know where these zones are going to end. We need to pick up kills, and we need to utilize what we're best at, which is team fighting. And now we saw that there.
Yeah, they get the best of both worlds where they're absolutely able to slay out at the beginning of the match and then, of course, at the end. And you got to imagine also, Rogue are kind of kicking themselves because they were the saviors of TSM. We saw that there was a knock onto one of the TSM members, and then Rogue stopped them with a third party coming in, poking at the wrong team, didn't allow them to finish off and get the thirst onto one of the TSM members. That could have been the kind of game secured for Rogue at that point. It was a missed opportunity. And it's hard to tell in the heat of the moment which teams won. That's why it comes down to having a really strong shot caller who understands what's going on all across the map and are able to really dictate exactly what they need to do for that win. But TSM coming in for that full 3v3. Now, the other side of the other thing that we have to talk about was that there's been a large discussion, and I think you might have seen it on Twitter, where a lot of teams were thinking, well, yeah, sure, this composition's great in the early game, but it doesn't have anything for the late game. But we just saw what happened here. Rogue versus TSM, and TSM won that fight handedly.
Yeah, especially if you're able to grab Ultic cells and pick those up on the way. And one of the things that I think Rogue's going to start to realize now is if they're going to say, okay, that's TSM, we need to fight them before they pop their ult excels before they get the death totem down. If they're able to go in onto this team, onto TSM below them, as Crypto's still in his drone, you're fighting a 2 versus 3 at that point. So next time, I guarantee Rogue is going to learn from this mistake, and they're going to say, hey guys, we need to play more aggressive on TSM. It sounds crazy that the team from Height is going to drop down and fight a team 3 versus 3, but that's what you want to do. You have to go and take that fight to them before they go and use and pick apart their whole team with the plan that they're going to try to put in place. So I think that the key to playing that is Rogue to be a little bit more aggressive and to drop down and to get onto TSM before they're expecting it. Don't let the death totem go down. Don't let the crypto EMP go down. And now you're looking at a much more fair fight.
Yeah. You got to imagine us as well. Yeah, you're right. Monsoon did come in though, delayed them from being able to make that because they did have to clear their back. And you said it during the game that Monsoon is looking to grief, right? If he can just get a knock onto anyone, then Scarper off, and then allow TSM to pick up that team fight win, all of a sudden now he's ratted his way to second place. That's an additional 2 points for Complexity. So Rogue did have I think the deck kind of stacked a little bit against them at that point, just because of where the third or where the rat was coming from. But still, you're right. You do have to kind of take control there at the end of the game. You can't allow a composition that wants the team fight and wants the team fight in a 3v3 and will start off every fight with an innate advantage in terms of HP. And so Rogue dropped the ball just a little bit there, but you got to imagine, like you said, they learn from that and they will evolve going into the next game.
Yeah, I think Rogue, it's better to happen now in the weeklies instead of the ALGS, right? So this is an opportunity for them to say, okay, it's not the end of the world. We still got second. We still got a couple of points on the board. Now we see what TSM is going to do in the end of this game, and this is what we could do to counter it. Like you said, Monsoon slowed that decision making down a little bit. Whatever side Monsoon was going to be on, if he was going to be on the bottom, then I guarantee Rogue was going to go and drop down and make their play. If they were on the top, it buys more time for TSM to go and put their plan into fruition. So now we move into game 2, and we arguably had the best 3 teams in NA in that final zone right there: Complexity, TSM, and Rogue. So there's a lot of talented teams in this lobby, and we could expect more of the same with these epic team fights, with these epic players all the way down to the end.
Yeah, so we're just waiting on a few more players to join the lobby, and I don't know if we can bring up the scoreboard right now. Hopefully, we can, just to give an update for everyone at home exactly what went down in that game. I do have it right here on the side, so I'll just go ahead and say TSM. Of course, they took the win. They get the 12 points from placements, but they also had 16 kills in that game.
Yeah, that's a big game right there. That's almost a 30 bomb, 28-point game overall. That's kind of what you aim for in terms of getting out to a great start. And I don't expect them to slow down at all. And that's what's very scary about TSM in this composition now, is that, again, I can't reiterate this enough. This is why they changed what they're doing, because they were running into the same problem that Rogue was, where, yeah, these placement points are great, but a lot of kills are being not only taken away from us, but given to the other teams. So they want to make sure that they're going in Fortnite over Apex. That team name is actually cracking me up right now. But you see how many points were taken off the board from TSM getting 16 kills. Now a team like Smile, who's a huge threat, and we've seen even get second place in the ALGS, is getting 7th with only 4 points overall. That's absolutely nothing. That's not going to be enough to, make their way over towards the top 3. These top 5 teams really shining through right now, and the other teams have to catch up.
Yeah, we're seeing also 2 different looks for team fight compositions, especially early game, right? TSM versus Complexity. Complexity still, they were able to rat it out to third with Monsoon staying alive, and so they end up getting 7 placement points, but they also got 7 kill points along the way. And it was a lot of fighting. It was a lot of teams in that northeast side of the map, even though a lot of the lobby was dwindled down quite a fair bit when that happened. And so we'll see if they make any adjustments. And I think this kind of game plan coming out from Complexity gets nerfed just for the simple fact that now TSM have a similar game plan, right? Where they just want to take the early fights. They want to kind of take out the teams around them in the general area. That might mean that maybe Complexity needs to drop somewhere else where it's a little bit healthier in terms of lobby density, right? Player density for them to pick up these kills, because TSM just gobbled it all up.
Yeah, TSM right from the get-go started finding kills immediately, and they played the rotations fairly well. I think they're starting to realize where a lot of these fights are taking place because they are a team that's been used to playing the middle of the zone so much that they're getting a feel for, okay, this choke's going to pick us up a lot of kills. Okay, this is going to pick us up a lot of kills. This rotation, this is where teams are going to be coming from. So it may be a change in strategy from other teams, but I don't think it's going to be a change of landing spots from these guys. I think it's going to be just a little bit more aggression. And we saw game one was one of the most aggressive that we've ever seen in a start of a tournament. So it's going to be fairly exciting. But that's what I really love, again, about this meta. A lot of people have been upset that, oh, Wraith got nerfed, Pathfinder's grapple, blah, blah. Well, guys, they were strong. They were too strong. Okay. Everybody else needs an opportunity on the team to go and showcase what they can do. And now you start to see all these other team compositions shine in. I love the Watson changes. I love that Revenant's a thing. I love that Bloodhound crypto as a thing. The more the merrier, and the more champions and legends for people to play is just more fun for everybody involved. So I really enjoy this meta. I hope to see stuff like this continue where it's just constant balancing and just constant changes in terms of what we could possibly see and different styles and end games, because that end game right there would have been so much different. You know, we've seen heal offs, we've seen all these crazy things, Wraith portals outside the zone and all these other things that come down to being super random compared to an actual team fight taking place, a real 3v3 happening in close quarters. That's what I love about this game.
Yeah, 2 months ago, or I don't even remember exactly when the patch came out, but before this, right? That would have just been a rogue win. And I remember you and I, we casted the first tourneys, well, I guess like the first tournament matches after the patch, and there was a lot of knee-jerk reaction about the strength of Revenant, but it's petered down, and we were big proponents of the patch. It's basically worked out the way I think we both predicted. The Revenant comp, sure, in that first week is going to seem a little bit OP, but now we're seeing a parity in kind of the compositions that you can run, and we're seeing different compositions finding success on different days. And so I think we're in a pretty healthy spot currently in Apex Legends, and I really love to see the evolution of this right now. So we were big fans of it. I'm glad to see it back on board with TSM, who were, like we said, the winners of the first game. 28 points. That's 13 points above Rogue. Ended up in second place in that first game. Only ended up getting 6 kill points there towards the end. So let's take a look right now. Oh, here's a fight early on, and I think this might be Liquid getting hunted down by the EU squad. Flanker is the first one to go down. That's going to be Chenchuk to pick him up with a triple take.
Yeah, that's not good at all to go down this early, especially Liquid, one of the best teams that we have in this lobby as well. So Nocturnal and Casper are going to have to figure out how they're going to go and get this recovery, but not the recovery as much as the res. So it looks like they're going to go and hit this not towards the Geyser side as another team gets mapped out. This is going to be the team over in Trials. Pick up a couple of loot ticks over there and getting some solid loot that's coming out. But I want to know if they're going to res over towards No Name or Geyser. I feel like No Name would be the better option. It's going to have a little bit more loot. As we take a look at that zone, it's going to be a Mirage Voyage zone. So right now, Team Rogue feeling great about this. They have not only Mirage themselves, but that whole side of the map seems so free and open, Jamerson.
But it's that issue once again, right? Rogue are very quiet in the early game. They picked up the kills in their late game. It was TSM that was mopping up the lobby the entire time while Rogue had that center zone. So now Rogue have to just watch the points go by, as TSM, again, with this composition, they don't really care about where the zone pulls for the most part. Their game plan is still the same.
Exactly.
Find the fights on the edges. And so I like that they're able to play a bit more consistent of a style, right? The early game is just find a fight and let's go ahead and take it. We just completely disregard where the circle is. Fuzzby is going to be able to find a kill onto Clinical. And it looks like, yeah, Dream Team, every single week, they find fights here. They end up winning them out most of the time.
Yeah, Dream Team likes to land. If it's not Lava City, it's going to be over towards Dome. I think it's just depending on where everybody else is going. And if they see a team maybe with a diamond trail or something like that, they're going to go and follow them over towards this side and try to take them out. But this fight isn't over quite yet. They still have to deal with the Caustic inside with blue armor.
Yeah, Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult. It's still a 3v2 though, and so they can surgically pick them apart as there's real no escape room right now. Blackout, Joey Blackout controlling the stairs here, pushes up onto the Caustic, but Mike Lav is able to get that crossfire. Vuzby comes in to back him up, and this should be the end for the squad. As Prodigy Aces shows up at the top of the stairs, and they'll get +3 going on, but it's also MVP taking a fight now over here by Skyhook as they spotted him out. They're going to go ahead and take the zip back. And I don't know if that team was able to recover the banner, but it might be multiple teams here as they're playing very, very safe right now. Oh, there's the Nox player at the bottom of this building. There it is. Tech's going to be finished off.
Yeah, so that's the crypto for this team. It's going to be sweet picking up a knock on the Petty Boss and Snipe Down getting the finish. And as you were saying, Jamerson, about Rogue being in this spot, as it's hard to find kills, but it looks like a team overextended on them too much, as we do have Hal and the rest of TSM getting in a fight over towards Lava Fisher. Hal only with the white Evo, so he's going to not be able to go in first like he typically is. And there goes the Crypto EMP. So now Hal's going to go in, and this should be a good fight for them as they do land the Death Totem as well.
Death Totem was on the roof, though, so it was only Aberlele that was able to pick it up. Reps goes down now. It's still going to be traded, and it looks like with one left here, as long as he can hit these shots, oh, he's going to go down. But it's Imperial Hell getting third-partied now, and so what a good third party. They do end up picking up these kills, but yeah, Naughty's team comes in, and now it's just Imperial Hell left to try and rep by himself, but you got to imagine they're going to be able to spot him out and finish him off.
And that's the only bad thing about running this composition is, one, if you don't finish the fight fast enough, then you may end up losing the fight. And then two, if you don't finish the fight fast enough, you're going to get third partied. And that's why you're seeing teams not do well on Revenant, is they're not as good as TSM at fighting, and then they leave themselves getting third partied. As we're looking at the fight that was happening on over towards Mirage, we were wondering if Rogue's going to even be contested over this side, and it looks like they are. So here's their opportunity to get some kills, because this is very, very early rotations from these teams charging up onto the ship.
This is some sheer audacity. I mean, if you follow the competitive scene, you know exactly what Rogue do, and they hardly ever get challenged for Mirage here, and I feel like they might have been caught off guard by that. The port's not going to be fast enough coming out from Sweden, so Snipe Down will go down. Dropped hasn't been able to heal yet, and now Rogue, they thought they were happy seeing TSM going down, but they might be the next ones to fall.
Crazy turn of events right here is it looked like two teams charged up on top of Mirage, and then you had another team that was on Mirage before that. So opportunities for other teams here to step it up, especially Complexity, who we see in the kill feed picking up a couple of kills over here, over towards the very, very back of the map. When we're talking playing edge here, boys, this is almost in no man's land, in towards where Skyhook meets Survey over through the train tunnel in that back res beacon. There are circles that end back towards there, but not this one. This one's on Mirage Voyage. So basically on the opposite side of the map right now for Complexity. But again, you have Shiny on that Gibraltar. Not that big of a deal. Gibraltar teams love to play at the edge, so they're just going to continue to do so. One team that was able to get out of there was going to be MVP. They're in a solid spot right here, holding the houses over down below Mirage. This one can pull in about 3 spots. It could happen right underneath where Rakanishu is at. There's a lot of zones that end right there. There's ones that end right below the ship. There's one that ends over towards the choke. And then there's ones that land on the other buildings over there on the northeast side. So I'm not sure exactly where this one's going to pull, but I do know that being on the ship here would be my personal favorite spot to be in terms of where I would want to play safe.
Again, a very fast match coming up here. And so we were talking about the late game, but it's this early game right now. Game number 2, and it's not slowing down whatsoever. Rakanishu not able to hit these massive shots. Finally lands one, backs away from that nade. And somehow they had these guys trapped in the house and they've completely escaped. Ankles broken here as Rakanishu has to throw down that bubble to go ahead and get that Phoenix kid off.
Very surprising to see them not be able to pick that up, and they're getting punished heavily for it. The Gibraltar ult needs to come down. That's going to be Madness and friends. They're an extremely aggressive team, so this Pathfinder just completely griefing their game. It's going to be Rogue coming in. It's going to be MVP coming in as well. And look at this spot from MVP. So they chase the rat, and then they get exterminated for that. So unfortunate for Crummy Pickett. and Rakanishu, they had the best spot in the game and they just threw it away.
Did you also see that terrible bin right in front of them, by the way? There was like four gray knockdown shields in there. That's one of the ugliest
I hate
bins
having
I've ever
knockdown
seen.
shields in my bin. Oh man, the worst is when there's just one knockdown shield inside. I've seen it before.
Is it really though worse if it's one or four? I don't know. I don't know. But
I
yeah, it's
mean,
gonna be MVP that are now the kings of the hill who own the 4 knockdown shield bin. And yeah, take a look at how they're controlling it as well. This is what we want to see out of teams controlling basically this triangle, controlling the backside of the rock, controlling Mirage Voyage, as well as the platform.
yeah, and it's interesting to see MVP busting out the caustic because we don't have many caustics in this lobby. And the less caustics, the more powerful that your caustic is. So Vaxon has to be feeling pretty good about the spot that he has right now, as it looks like Petty Boss, who was taken out early, is backed out of the game. But you have Mini and Yoshi over here just laying down some cover fire from underneath the bridge, which is another solid spot. Again, guys, remember we picked out a couple of primary spots to be on where this zone's going to rotate over towards. And I like the way that Mini's setting up here. You have the Scout, you have the Gibraltar. Yes, you're pretty weak in terms of what shields you have, but this is a solid spot to play as a duo. A lot of teams don't contest this. The only way you can contest it on this is if a team does recognize that you're a duo and they come through with some sort of portal play. So they should be fairly safe for quite some time. They're just going to try to milk some kill points here, maybe get some extra placement by living as long as possible.
Petty Boss just got DC'd, and I okay, there they go. They're gonna finish him off, but yeah, it's the free KP. You take it. That's so unfortunate.
The finish is a
yeah,
little unnecessary.
Yeah, a little bit unnecessary, but you take it. But yeah, that spot that Smile we're playing in is actually typically TSM spot. When we see the circle, it's going to be TSM that plays under bridge there. But TSM, of course, wouldn't have, and so it was free for them to take. And you know, they definitely would have been in a great position there. Here we go, MVP making a push. They do have the port down, and so Madness not able to get that one clip down, and so he just backs off of this. Again, this is the power position. The ring should continue to pull over to MVP here on Mirage Voyage, as now we're on board with Liquid, who were able to recover off of that. And, you know, I thought they were going to be in trouble. I thought, of course, TSM was going to push them once they saw the knock over there at No Name. But we saw, of course, TSM pushing to the west instead, gave them this opening. Team Liquid are still alive. And so now they're the ones that are trying to make this push. We saw TSM. This is where they went down.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also have Mini getting a knock onto Appa over there too. So there's a couple fights happening on the map right now. It's going to be Tech, Saucer, and Panda's getting in a fight with G Dolphin and Nasky and Mandy over here towards the bubble. Saucer's last guy alive, and the EU boys putting the belly on him. Back on board with Liquid, where they do fight on the Lava Fisher side, where TSM was going down, as you said, Jamerson. But you can see how much better the charge rifle is than the actual longbow. And I think that's what you're seeing is the charge rifle just seems easier to hit your shots, and it's a little bit more forgiving in your aim.
That hit scan is nothing to like mess around with right now, but they've gotten some good damage off as on board with Six, who was, I believe, able to finish off the Smile squad. Started it off with a great Kraber shot, and Six is, I love seeing, oh my God.
How do you get in there?
What is this?
How do you get in there?
You can't. You can't. And so that's why you're seeing they're focusing their barrels on this side because there's no entry from Nocturnal. I want to open up his stream right now to see exactly how he's responding. Now we got to remember that the players, they're not required to have a delay, so we can have like the instant reaction to what's going on over here.
Haven't these guys played Jenga before? Don't you just remove the middle one? Isn't that how you do that one? Looks like Vuzby and the rest of Dream Team are going to be able to clear this out, and now they're making their way over towards the only open door right now that they have. And it's still another caustic barrel coming in as Liquid just really struggling to get inside of this building with no grenades. Has to be so frustrating, and there's Nasty coming in with the third party. So as we know, once these fights just get elongated for so long, it just says to the other teams, hey guys, come on over here. And it's going to be Nasty and friends doing so after they win a team fight. G Dolphin picking up another one. Bye-bye to Team Liquid. So unfortunate that they could only check through one door, but at a certain point, you just got to give that spot up, boys.
Yeah. Oh man. Why are there so many fights breaking out over here? There's another squad now. The Watson, Jenny will help them out, and they were able to just yoink that from Team Liquid. And so now, Dolphin just gonna go ahead and re-up here as we've got 15 seconds before the zone starts closing. They have a game plan for this. Now they just want to get the frags here as Nasky's on the hunt here. Another 2 seconds left on that Wraith board, and we'll see hitting him big. Gets 80. He's got about 40 left on that shield, but looks like they were able to successfully get away. But will Mandy allow them to get away now as they're continuing this hunt here? Again, with so many players out of this lobby right now, with so much action taking place, they could take this fight like it is not going to get third party.
No doubt about it, and they're going to continue to charge this one and probably hold that spot where the 3 barrels are. So we'll see as the bubble does have to come down, and they're going to probably push into another team that's setting up inside those houses. So curious to see if they're going to take that portal or if they're just going to play the position here, because there was multiple teams that were below Mirage. So once you start getting past this like point where you get into the open area, you don't want to cross quite yet, because you could get beamed from a scout and you could see multiple players are just ratting down below. So they do want to play this very aggressive, but they have to be careful to just evaluate the situation a little bit more before they go and commit. Once they see where all the players are located, then they're going to make a plan and formulate where the weakest area is going to be. And it looks like G Dolphins deciding to do exactly just that by putting a portal play down on the team that they see southeast.
And so the ring pulling away, that is a massive shift, but I think right now every squad in the lobby is just pretty much just holding W here. This we were talking about the practice, right? This being some of the best practice, but right now this is a completely different kind of playstyle that we're seeing out of almost every team for the most part. Very few teams playing this kind of standard.
Yeah, again, teams like to play a little bit slower here, but I would say once all hell breaks loose on a map, it really opens up the floodgates for everybody to start playing more aggressively. It's not just a 1 or 2 team thing. I think that all the teams kind of signed up for this and are really looking forward to this fast-paced play style. And I like the fast-paced play style because it just results in more fun fights. You get a lot of aggression coming in. Again, you don't have these teams playing it out for the heal off or some sort of, final circle, gold knockdown, shields gone type of stuff. So I really like to see this aggression. Again, it's pretty unorthodox, but it's more or less because everybody started charge that really creates so much gunfire and just this constant third partying. And it kind of started with TSM with the Revenant and Crypto over towards that lava fissure side. You saw so many boxes over there. Probably 5 or 6 teams ended up just dying in that one spot.
Oh, that EU hammer point coming in. There's the knock onto Traki. It's all up to Premier here, and he's just gonna go ahead and give up and throw himself into the lava. No, he found a nice little spot to at least heal up for now, but we'll see. The Danish boys want to finish this off. Well, they've already got at least 3 kill points on Dolphin right now. I don't know how many Nasky has or Mandy, but yeah, these hammer points. I mean, we see it all the time also out of Hawkes as well, but I think people really do sleep on the hammer point P2020.
Yeah, hammer point's not only really strong, it's a super fun gun to use. And if you have good communication, if you're able to establish, the cracks and who's going to go for who and when to go and push with that hammer points, it's extremely powerful. Great shots right there from Mandy with the 3x R301 with the gold barrel stabilizer. Also has the Mastiff, so you can see he's just kind of looking for some sort of grapple play. If he's able to get some more damage, he's going to go full send on this team, who seems to be fairly scared just fighting in, underneath this rocky area with less armors than this team has, the Danes have. And there's the crack. So the aggression are going to start to come in because keep in mind, they Dils do have the hammer points, but they're pinging over towards the right side because they realize there's a team holding the choke, which is one of the most powerful spots to have right now.
Yeah, there we go. They're going to be able to finish this team off. And whew, what a fast turnaround from Dolphin there. We're now down to 4 squads left, 10 players remaining. I think there's a duo, might be 2 duos or a solo left. It's very difficult to tell right now, but it should be 3-3-3-1. I'm not in client, so I can't tell, but we know that the Danes are here, MVP is here as a full 3, and they're a little bit in a bad position. They got to run uphill. I don't know if they've got a port for this. Yeah, it is going to be a 3-3-1 as Young Hong Kong was able to stay alive for his team. And no, he doesn't have his port, 33% off. They're going to be able to walk up on the right-hand side, but there it is, the tags. Dolphin has to back off. He does have the gold armor, so the reset isn't going to take that long for them. We'll see. The Ultimate Excel going to go across for him. Still might not have time to be able to get that port.
Yeah, Madness's team has the best position, and we've seen this end circle before in our esports arena games. This is a circle that we've seen NRG and Rogue fight off, where this choke just becomes so valuable. And really, the only team playing this one by the book, in my opinion, would be this team that we're on board with right now, which is MVP. They started their rotations off over towards Skyhook. They've been playing that typical Pathfinder, using Caustic as the Watson, as the zoning off type of thing. And this is the one thing that you have to worry about if you are running Caustic compared to Watson or Gibraltar, would be this defensive bombardment that's coming in. So well-placed bombardment, you see the Gibby bubble going down, and now they're going to have to work with the resources in front of them and the situation in front of them. Keep in mind, multiple teams over here, so it's a 3v3v1, I believe. Now it's a 3v3v3 as 3 squads left. But this is all, again, about the team that's going to be last to third party. Big nade coming out from Vaxon, getting 2 downs.
Yeah, and unfortunately for them, you know, they did no damage across to the other side, so it is just a full 3v3v3. We'll see if the Caustic really comes in for them. Vax jumps forward into the Caustic Gas, and now Madness dropped down low, but he's not going to stop the push as Powell gets the knock to Naval, and it looks like MVP will be able to clean this up, and they will take game number 2 out of 4.
Yeah, great game by MVP again. In my opinion, the only team that was playing that zone by the book. Holding that choke is such a smart call. So whoever made that call early on in that zone is, you know, kudos to that player. But it was a whole team effort. They continued to pick up kill points along the way. You saw them getting dropped on by Tech's team over towards Skyhook. They ended up killing that team, getting them out of the lobby, and then just continuing to add on more and more. And we talked about Caustic, and if you get to these end zones, if you're the only Caustic in the lobby or one of the only Caustics in the lobby, it makes it so much more difficult for other teams to go inside. But that grenade from Vaxon just getting 2 knocks onto Nasky, and I believe it was to Dolphin there, just completely turns the tide of that fight, because that's the bigger threat in terms of skill differential between all of the teams that are left in those 3. So really heads up play by MVP, and they put a lot of points on the board right there.
Yeah, that was just a great nade, like you said, from Vaxlon. And we typically know when we're down to that kind of standoff situation with just 3 squads remaining, they're all full healthy. It's just who makes the first move onto whom. That's kind of game over for them. And MVP, like you said, played standard and were able to take advantage of that. They just played good, fundamental Apex Legends, were able to win that out. So we'll see where they rest on the leaderboard, but we're going to have to take a short break while we tabulate those results for you heading into halftime here. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back in a few minutes. Welcome back, guys, to the Esports Arena North American Apex Legends Weekly here, where we do have a quick update. So Team Liquid have dropped out of this tournament right now, and so we're down to 19 teams. So I just want to let you guys know first. But Jamerson here, once again, joined by Tom, T-Squared, Taylor, and we had a hell of a two first matches here in the first half.
Yeah, Team Liquid tilted from the fact that they couldn't get in the door with the 3 death boxes just sitting there, also getting dropped on and randomly in game number 2. But yeah, I mean, still plenty of teams left. And Team Liquid, I understand, guys. Nothing's more tilting than not being able to get into that fight. And the 3 death boxes stacked up, I've never seen anything like it before. But how much action have we seen in the first 2 games, Jamerson? It's been actually insane.
Yeah, so much action. We even saw TSM going down really early in game number 2, and so that's allowed a lot of teams to actually catch up. We have to remember TSM had 28 points going into game number 2, and they only ended up getting 2 points. So they're at 30 now, tied for first with Team MVP right now, who are also at 30. Right behind them, though, Mandy, Dolphin, and Nasky are currently sitting in third place at 23, and Dream Team are right behind them at 22. It's going to be Rogue playing in fifth place here. And so if we could go ahead and let's get on board with MVP, the winners from our last map here, who did end up fighting early on over at Skyhook.
Yeah, again, such a crazy turn of events last game. Let's just talk about how Rogue really quick wasn't able to hold Mirage when the zone was a Mirage circle. And during the break, we were talking about how much a scout or a charge rifle would have changed that whole scenario. So really keep that in mind, guys. If you're a new team that's looking for scrim experience or how to play in tournaments, just realize how important it is to have your Watson fences up or your caustic barrels down so you have a presence, and how you're supposed to really be looking around the map, having, again, this word presence and bullying these teams is very, very important. So you never want to just turtle inside of a building and let a team think that you're not there, because then you just get ran up on and then you get third partied. And that's exactly what happened to Rogue.
Yeah, it looks like for Team MVP, the winners from the last game tied for first right now with TSM. They're just going to take that Eastern Skyhook split. Still don't know if there's a team in the area. If we can bring up the map right now to see exactly what kind of info we have, that'd be awesome to see. And so, yeah, we do have two other teams along with a team over at Trials. And so we're seeing why they're playing cautiously currently. They have, of course, they're tied for first. And so you don't want to throw it all away right now. You just want to play standard, which is what we saw out of MVP in the last game.
Are they playing cautiously or caustically?
On board with Chentrick and them, it looks like they've got a different drop once again, as they're challenging a team over here by Thermal. Sirius is already knocked. Chentrick forced out of position. He's got the wingman. He's not able to connect with these shots. Finally, with the 47, but the alternator is not the follow-up you want. It's going to be Crummy to pick him up, and Hiarka from the high ground, not going to be able to do anything to help out his squad as two of them go down.
When he's fighting that, it looked like he had way more help than originally anticipated. I thought he had some sort of teammate that was ready to help out, but is this another team that's flying in? Because you have the Bloodhound scan popping off, but didn't they just take someone out? It is. So it's a completely different team and a completely different Bloodhound coming in over here. Just nonstop action. This area didn't seem so hot in the previous game. I highly doubt 3 teams are landing over here. I'm curious to see what happens.
It's very odd indeed. A sneaky monkey tries to go in, and wow, the trades are already 4 hostiles detected. So another soul here. I think it might just be that solo coming in, but they do get finished off. And yeah, Rakanishu and Matt Pickett trying to clean this up, and they are being a little bit cautious here as the bubble res is going to come out. It's Hiarka that came in. Remember, he's a solo, so it's going to be a 1v2, but Rakanishu has to buy some time for Crummy, who does need to heal up with that medkit now, so it will be a 1v1 for another 5 seconds until he can join that fight. But I think he just back off. You get Matt Pickett back up, but it might be another squad also coming in. Yeah, it is.
They got Longbow from the side, so possibly a rotation coming in from the tree side of the map as we have more fighting happening over here. This time going to be in sorting, and this is just non-stop action all 3 games now.
Yeah, there we go. Complexity. They see the bubble down. They're going to go ahead and toss out those nades, but it's Shiny up top that goes down to Dolphin. And I completely lost track of where any team is dropping and where they're playing. I have no idea what's going on in this match anymore.
Yeah, you're going to have a whole team on the roof. I believe there's another team in the vicinity as well. On the hunt has been used, so he's trying to get off the hunt over here, trying to run away. and find out some sort of rotation, maybe playing the banners a little bit later. But here's again more fighting going on, multiple sides. You're gonna have Mandy, Nasky, and Dolphin on top of the back of Refinery over here, looking for a fight after maybe landing Epicenter, and you're gonna have a 2-4 R301. Very rarely do you see that, but keep in mind, guys, the old gold R301 used to have that default scope on there as the 2-4. So while you may not be used to seeing it, a lot of teams and players have been used to shooting it in the past. Curious to see if he's going to keep that scope on.
Yeah, Mendy's also just expertly just practiced on that 301. He picks it up over the R9 now as TSM. They're able to finish off Matt Pickett and Rakanishu. We're down to 15 squads, 43 players remaining. We were talking about the pace, general pace of the game, especially in high-level competitive play during the ALGS. These are numbers you see by like third circle, and so this is kind of insanity. Rogue, though, they're checking their backs. I think they're missing out on a few kill points, and so they were looking to probably third-party a fight because so many fights were taking place over there at Thermal Station.
Yeah, Thermal's not a very common spot to see that much action, and Rogue, again, they're a much slower style team. They really look for their opportunities with a portal play instead of just going all in as they should. It's really worked for them in the past. And now we're looking at the rotation coming in for MVP. And we may see some more clashes over here because you have a team that's gone up over towards the top, but MVP instead looks like they're taking this one very seriously. They're not going to go and challenge some sort of high ground fight without thinking a little bit further ahead. So Madness just kind of scouting around, and it could just be because their armors that they're playing a little bit slower and passive than normal, but just pings going down in terms of where they want to set up, where they think this zone's going to be, and how they want to play this.
Yeah, we see that Shiny did get finished off. We don't know if they're going to be able to recover him right now as the zone is closing, and so as we're on board with Clinical, Munsgod, and iMikeLab, they might be running into MVP very shortly, and they have a huge armor advantage along, especially with that reduced damage that they take from the Gibraltar and the Caustic.
Yeah, and what's surprising is that this spot isn't that contested quite yet. Teams would rather fight getting over here than actually get here fairly early, but these houses are extremely nice to have. The unfortunate thing again for MVP is that they're stuck on white armor. So what you're going to see happen here if you're Madness and friends is you're just looking for either a third party or you're just going to try to portal some loot so you can at least get a blue armor here. And you don't want to take a fight head on head because you will end up being the team that gets thirded. So in terms of which house is the best, they did choose this one here where they feel like the zone's going to end, and that house is the best.
Oh. And thermal fight still continuing here as it looks like there is a trade as Girth goes down. Bubble is here. They're not going to res quite yet, but they'll just go ahead and portal to safety instead to go for that res. So they'll be able to recover off the back of that. But TSM, it looks like they are creeping up to take advantage of this. They've already got the Death Totem out, and now the Prowler comes out, and I didn't actually check Imperial House stream, but I think they're still playing on controller, right?
Possibly with shots like that, looking a little sticky with the aim assist. Not quite sure. Is he going to stand still and loot? He is. Now he's moving. So I don't know if he's looting with his toes, or if he's going and switching and playing hybrid mouse and keyboard for the loot, or what's going on. But personally, I don't think Hal needs to play on controller. I think that he's already, one of the best players in the game. If he feels like he wants to go and do it, though, go for it, bro. Just do whatever you want.
The highest DPS gun with the Prowler on that burst, with a player that's just so mechanically cracked, I don't see why not. As they do swap off, here it comes. There is the EMP. As they take a lot of damage. They're connecting onto all three right now. It's just Cleo out by himself taking a 3v1, and he will get cracked. That's going to be Saucer coming in. Now fighting into a 2v3. Murdoch not able to land his shots there. He will be able to take some damage across the board, but now the thing's not looking so great for them as Rexy is actually on full HP, taken to the roof, got his flank, might be able to get the knock, 90 HP. He's one shot, able to get that last shot through the metal there, and now they bring it down into an even fight, but will Murdoch be able to finish him off? He will. Tech, Panders, and Saucer go down.
Big cleanup there, and again, that's just the meta that's going on right now. You have a Bloodhound, so he's playing aggressive hitting with the scans. You have a Crypto Tech, that's him on the Crypto going through and using the EMP, but it's just so fun to go and watch these different play styles. Like you see the Caustic from the MVP squad, they're going to go and set up and play a little bit safer. But if everyone was running the Pathfinder, the Watson, the Wraith, what we've seen for so long in the previous seasons, everyone would be doing the same thing. Everyone would be scanning beacons. There'd be fences and generators everywhere. Watson used to even be able to put multiple generators down. So she would have 2 or 3 at any given point in time. So it just made it so difficult to throw grenades, to play aggressive, to go and push, but not anymore. And that's why, again, I love talking about this meta and what we're seeing. It's just fight after fight after fight, aggression after aggression. And yeah, third parties are never fun, but if you take smart fights, you're never going to really deal with that situation.
Dream Team are going to be safe up here, but as we can see from that beacon that it does pull away. We're down to 13 squads, 37 players. So 5 players are, or wait, no, that math's wrong. 2 players are currently missing from the lobby now. So I don't know if it's a solo or if it's just 2 duos running around, but I can't imagine they find many more kills here. And it was TSM that was to their west, I believe. Back on board with the Danes as now they are getting aggressive, but it's going to be Kubsky to start it off. Instant thirst onto Dolphin here. Now it's a 2v3 fight as Mandy is going to try and back away. He does have his Q, but we know that cooldown. You have to be much smarter about it. Nasky's going to try and hold his ground here, but it looks like he might have done enough damage to try and back off as we do have a master shot coming in from behind.
Yeah, Nasky needs to ult right now, and it looks like he's going to elect to ADS instead. But an ult would completely screw these guys over if that was the case, because everybody was in Revenant form, and then that also possibly would kill their Death Totem. So curious to see why he's not doing that. Maybe a third party is coming in as we see more shots being laid down. He has to be careful that he doesn't walk into that Revenant silence as well. And TSM, they've been just extremely aggressive all 3 games so far, now finding themselves at the bottom of Thermal with not too many teams around and 1 team above them. So they could take this, as they are going to be able to look with the drone here. That's going to be Rep standing still. I love Crypto when he's in his drone form. Always cracks me up.
Yeah, he's just too busy checking his socials. It's not that time right now. But again, how do you push this? How do you push this? You've got one avenue for pros. The port is going to come out as there is the EMP. But the follow-up, no, they're just going to go ahead and take the thing up, but they're instantly clear. It's a good job coming out from Dream Team to stop this push. And I don't know how much harder TSM are going to commit onto this. They might just have to kind of cut their losses there and take another fight somewhere else. As we saw, it was expertly shut down by Dream Team.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to rotate out of there. There's no reason to just continually take that zip line over and over again, as we have MVP fighting against Nasky and Mandy. As we know, that team is already down a player, so it should be fairly easy. But this is what we were talking about for MVP. This is the fight that they need to go and take. A smart fight away from other teams head on, going and try to find an armor upgrade. As they do that, Baxlon going from a white armor to a purple Evo shield. So that's great news for them. That's realistically all they were trying to do, Jamerson. And now they're just going to reset and just try to figure out what their next step's going to be. So to me right now, it seems like the more mechanical teams out there, like MVP and Rogue, are really sticking true to the way that they want to go and play this one. And then you have teams like TSM who are just balls to the wall, taking every single fight, very similar to how Nasky and his squad have been doing as well. But, you know, whatever works, right? And MVP's already won a game. So if they sense that other teams are playing a little wild, they're just going to pull back the reins a little bit and do, as we were talking about earlier in the show, letting the kill points come to them, letting the game come to them, and not forcing anything.
This might be too slow for Rogue, though. They just haven't been able to find anything quite yet. I believe we do see, I don't know if that's TSM or if that's Dream Team. We weren't able to see exactly how the rotations worked out for them, but it looks like it is going to be Dream Team coming in from the south side. So these are the kills that you were talking about coming towards them right now. The zone should pressure them soon. As again, they've got the scouts this time. This is the weaponry they want to play with to try and pick up these kill points.
Yeah, Scout Flatline, not as strong as Scout Prowler, but it'll do, especially when you have this Scout with so much ammo. You could lay down tons of shots. There's no chance he's going to waste 214. They haven't even seen a soul really this entire time. Another team we haven't really seen much of has been Six and Wig and Bowser. I'm curious to see what they've been doing on the map this entire time, because one of the top teams, one of the more aggressive teams, not being able to find any early fights since they did have that one in game 1 in Sorting Factory. So Now Dolphin's been back on the map. He's going to get the res. No armor for him or Mandy, so it's going to be fairly tough. We do know that some white armors are laying around somewhere, but when you go and look at what the rest of everybody else has, like a TSM with purple on their way up to a red Evo, that's not what you want to see if you're Dolphin and Mandy. But now they've gotten out of the bottom of Thermal. We'll see what TSM's going to do, Jamerson.
Yeah, so we got Dream Team here. It looks like Dream Team is below them. Oh no, hitting for Flesh. As we also see Nasky with the Kraber getting that knock onto Pow. And so a lot of fights taking place right now, and Rogue love to see that, but they have traded it back. It's gonna be TSM though making the push, as it is Dream Team on the low ground here. They got to be careful now. But here we go. Busby goes in. He connects with the Mastiff. They will be able to finish off. Rogue's dropped. Now it's answered back. It's going to be the third party coming in from TSM.
This is the worst case scenario for Rogue. You're waiting in the end zone the entire time, postured up, got your scouts out, haven't found anybody. Next thing you know, you're being taken out before even picking up a couple of points. And TSM, they're mopping this lobby right now as we have another Revenant ult coming in. Revenant on Revenant, and look how fast everyone's just flying around here, gets sent back. And that's really big for Hal, just to be able to do that without taking any damage here. That should give these guys pretty good confidence going forward. And Hal's just a one-man wrecking crew right now, already sending 2 players back. And they're going to have to rethink this. The team that just used that Revenant ult is probably going to have to back off. I believe there is another team in the vicinity too. So going to have to play this safe. 50 seconds left again. Zone 4 is that death zone. A lot of action going to happen here in the next couple seconds.
Time is dwindling down as well. 40 seconds left before the zone starts closing, and they're not particularly on the slow side of the circle as well. And so while they're trying to clear their back, there we go. Spaceman will get finished off. That's Imperial Hal picking up the kill. That's 2 for him, but we know that TSM have much more than that. So now, how do they want to approach this? There is a ping to the right, ping to the left, but I think their only choice at this point is to go for the left-hand side, as Rogue is down a man. All the way out here on the outskirts, we do have, Clinical going down. That's going to be Stay Naughty coming in for that one. We're seeing Complexity just playing at range, picking up, again, the smart fights now, as they want to get aggressive, but again, the timing just doesn't work out for them. They've got the zone pressure to worry about as well, and so they're going to play this a little bit more cautiously here, as they understand the situation they're in, especially on the leaderboard.
Aggressive play coming out from TSM. They're in the Death Totem form. You can see Hal picking up a couple. That's going to be all of Dream Team going to drop, add more kills onto Hal's and the rest of TSM here. As we saw this zone that ended over here towards the previous game, Rogue, again, wasn't able to hold the spot nearly as long. This time, TSM's going to start to push in. Albrily has to heal, but this is that zone that we're talking about where so many players are going to die. You can see Mike Lab, he's going to die to the ring, and a couple other players are just stuck on the outskirts like Complexity, and other players just trying to desperate their way in.
TSM, we know they can team fight, but we also know they can macro here, and so they understand the kind of breakdown of the map currently. And this is going to be a difficult one to approach here. Don't know if they were able to pick up many ultimate excels or not, and so they just might not have the ability to make this push. They want to try and clear this. They've got a minute before the ring closes, and the ring is going to close basically at the same speed from both the south and the north here. So we see on the board Complexity, who are able to actually finish off Yeet Squad. So that's another power hitter out of the lobby.
Yeah, Yeet Squad wasn't even on the kill feed at all. I don't believe they picked up any kills a majority of this game, if any. And then they get taken out by Complexity in 7th place. It's just been so weird for some of these teams where there's been so much action elsewhere that they're not able to find anything. And again, that's why I love TSM's comp, because if they're able to recognize the way that these lobbies play out, and if they're able to find early fights, they're so darn good at team fighting that they're not going to struggle with getting points like they have before, just like we've seen with Rogue not being able to do their thing. So here goes Hal and Albrily making their way over towards this corner, and Reps is even there as well. So full 3-man push. Reps doesn't even go into drone form quite yet. He does have his EMP ready, and he's going to go and use it. Perfect timing over here. His nose back is cleared. That's going to be able to get rid of these fences, and it's also going to just weaken the players that are in that area. And I believe that's a 2-man squad holding that. That's probably Rogue that was still over there, minus Sweet, I think, who got killed a little bit earlier. So it's going to come down to most likely TSM taking on Complexity in this final circle.
Yeah, Snipe Down was trying to hold the north, but the TP right on pass. We've seen this before. They do have to be careful. Snipe Down does have that Devo, but it's going to be Tempo to go down. And these are not the trades you want to see, especially if you still have Rogue left in the lobby. And so Rogue, again, as the duos, they're pretty happy with that at the very least. And Complexity will be able to finish off Tempo Squad, but will they be able to recover off the back of this as Sweet finishes off Monsoon? So now I think TSM, they've got the numbers advantage across the board. This might be another win game for them.
Yeah, they're going to go into drone form here. I'm not sure if Hal's going to be able to climb up here. I think that Alberlily would be able to with his passive on the Revenant, but he's going to have to take the back angle here. You have the drone. The drone should be able to scan these guys. He's not able to climb up. Maybe it's controller things, or maybe he just needs to work on his rock climbing skills. But there it is, 120 to the face. Doesn't need to work on his shot, obviously. The climbing only. And there's the kills. It's going to go on over to Alberlily. He picks up both of those, 7 kills overall. And here's the final fight in the final squad.
This is absurd. Are they going to get another 28-point game here as TSM with the Death Totem? They're pushing up now. 2 members using it. They've also got the red Evo shields. It's going to be a 3v2 as Reps comes in with the flank. What a beautiful spray down here. Cracks that Gibraltar, but McCarthy is going to be Ice Shiny coming in. Stats are back, and that's the power of the PK. As now, it's going to be Imperial Hell, Mastiff versus PK. Which one wins out here? He's going to go back as it is going to be a 1v2, and TSM aren't able to clutch that out. But you got to imagine with the number of kill points that they've got, they have to be the lobby leaders.
Was that a 3v2 that Complexity ends up winning in the final zone right there, right?
I believe so.
Straight up 3v3. I think that was a 3 versus 2. So we were saying that it was going to be Complexity versus TSM, but I didn't think that TSM at any point, with the way that they were just fuming and fueling the fire that they had, was going to go and drop that game. But like you said, tons of kill points, not really the end of the world. Would have been nice if they got all of the points. Probably would have secured even the dub for them, the way that they were able to dominate in the first game. But now Complexity picking up some extra points, Rogue picking up some extra points. These are some big threats. These are the same teams that were fighting it out in the very first game. So a fantastic game, another fast-paced game, and we're really starting to see what TSM can do on this team comp.
Yeah, I love to see it right now. Currently, I gotta imagine that they are in first place. I believe MVP were tied with them, right? Going into game number
MVP.
3, it was 30 points to 30 points, but now TSM are gonna have a massive lead up against them heading into the final game of the evening.
Yeah, and that last zone was really interesting because that's the one that we saw previously, and we know how important that choke is to hold. Again, Rogue lost an early player. If they were to have all 3 players, I feel like they would have been in a really prime position, not only to win that game, to pick up more kills. So I really want to know how that player on Rogue was able to be taken out so early. But either way, fantastic job by Complexity winning that final fight. It really seemed like Reps had the flank. Not sure how Albrelli got taken out so quickly, but like you said, it's the Peacekeeper that would just did so much damage.
Yeah, and we know these players, their PKs are just absolutely on point. And we get to see the instant replay coming out, and this is just TSM understanding the situation that they were in, and they tried to approach this. I think they approached this right? One pushing in from the left, one pushing in from the right, but they just did not do enough damage. The PK is just way too strong, as you can see. He's able to finish off Reps. Got the armor swap off on him, probably as well as he picked up that red. And so this is just massive that they were able to finish this off. So TSM end up missing out on 5 points ultimately there, right? The 2
5
KP
points.
along with the 3 placement points, but they got to be happy with the performance, being able to pick up a lot of the early kill points and then continue that snowball through the rest of the game.
Yeah, and the only reason they actually lose that is because of the fact that Hell took the death totem and charged in and got resent back. And that's why he was so far away from his team. So if he wasn't able to get sent back and if he was to stay with his team, they wouldn't have been able to get that armor swap. But that's why it's so important. If you're new and you're watching Apex Legends right now, if you're learning something, the best thing that you could learn from that is what you said, Jamerson, how fast they were able to get the armor swap on the guy that was down. So they don't hit a battery or anything. They finish that guy, secure the kill point, armor swap, and that's what threw Hell off.
Yeah. But man, it's so hard to like try and slow this down for the post game because we just had action every single minute of the game. And so I'm trying my best to slow things down. I appreciate you for really keeping me tempered here, but these have been some exciting games. We haven't seen a pace like this in quite some time, across three games now, where it's just been balls to the wall action coming out from every single squad.
And it really throws a team off like Rogue, for example, who's very, steady. Let's set up, let's hold down our spots. Teams are flying in left or right. There's so many third parties. And this is perfect practice for a team like TSM, who is playing that Revenant Crypto combo and initiating a majority of these fights. So it's not only about getting these fights under your belt, it's also getting the third and fourth parties to come under your belt. And that's what TSM's dealing with right now. And they're dealing with it very well. And that's why they have so many points.
Yeah. So I haven't done the math, but they're around like 56-ish points, I think. And so not the big high frag game that they had in game number one, but still very close to it. I think they're just off by 2 points. 28 points is what they did in the first game. And so still they are very happy taking that second place. Oh, wait, no, they did frag as much. Never mind. I did the math incorrectly there. So I really want to see exactly what they did in that game in terms of numbers, because this isn't, like the easiest lobby to be able to just slay out like this.
Not at all. And they're averaging what, close to 20 points a game, which is fantastic. That's absolutely insane. You would take that any day of the week. And that's just a winning pace. So TSM doing it against some of the best teams in NNA. And yes, it's not like a fully stacked lobby. You don't have every single top 20 best teams in the world here, but you do have, I would say, half of the squads here and a lot of tournament winners in here. You have Yeet Squad, you have MVP, you have Rogue, you had Liquid before they ended up dropping out because they got mad at the death boxes. So, I would say 25% of these teams have won an ALGS, and you see TSM running through them like it's a ranked game. So, props to them for really having their communication on point, coming out here and, firing on all cylinders. And it's really the type of Apex that you love to watch and see.
Yeah, so it was 16 kill points in game number one, 2 kill points in game number two, where we saw them go down early. But here in game number three, they ended up picking up 17 KP, along with that +9 from the second place finish. So right now, TSM are clearly in the lead, 56 points to Complexity's 43, and MVP there, 6 points behind Complexity at 37, and Rogue. This might just be out of their reach. I mean, two things that happen if Rogue want to make a comeback. TSM need to die early, and Rogue need to have a massive game.
Yeah, but don't forget that Complexity, the team in second, is the team that won the previous game, and it was 5 points that TSM could have had. So it could have been 61 points for them and five less points for Complexity. So we're looking at a 10-point differential basically going in right there. So Complexity could be sitting, right at 38 points, and you could have TSM at 61 points, which is almost a win no matter what going into the final game here. So now Complexity does have a chance to overtake TSM, but if TSM is able to put up any type of points here, like, a 10-point game, somewhere along those lines, they're going to be completely fine. But they're not just trying to play for 10 points. They're going to try to, again, have this huge game. I wouldn't even be surprised if something like game number two happened where a crazy team fight happens and they end up getting third partied, but they're okay with that. They're just going to, again, try to put up as many points as possible. Expect Complexity, CLG, and Rogue probably to play a little bit slower and just wait for TSM to potentially be taken off of the map before they go and decide how many points that they need.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think the pace slows down. It very rarely does in game number four. That's where you see, of course, a lot of the teams thinking, we just have to have a big pop off game, and so basically everyone left in the lobby, even Rogue, understand that they have to have a big pop off lobby, so they could be a bit more aggressive here in the final game of the evening. Remember that it's only the top three that will be placing in the money in our 1K total pool here. $500 going to first place, $300 going to second, and $200 going over to third. But I think for a lot of the teams, the money isn't really what's important for them. It's about making sure that they get their team compositions down, and they're able to play these in the bigger upcoming tournaments. For Rogue in particular, they're making adjustments as well as they've been trying out different compositions. They've, I think, kind of just settled on having two separate compositions for Kings Canyon and World's Edge. We're seeing them go back to how they want to play World's Edge kind of standard now, having Watson once again for a lot of the positions that they want to hold. And so this is a lot of the testing grounds for the squad. And I think right now it's TSM that's really coming up on top and getting the really good practice for how they want to play.
Yeah, and exactly. Something to keep in mind is that the ALGS tournaments are free to play, and this one's $10. And I feel like when players are putting up their own money, they're taking it even more seriously. It reminds me of the money eights, or when you would go and throw down at a type of land. And it's not just pride that you're playing for; it's the pride with your own money and your own funds that you're going to put up. And it's only $10, right? But there's just
Hmm.
something about that $10 per person that makes everybody try that much harder. And it is great practice for these guys. And again, it's no coincidence that the teams that are winning the weekly esports arena tournaments are winning in the ALGS. We've seen it happen time and time again. And I think that the teams that are taking it seriously and putting in the effort on a week to week basis are seeing the results. So when I see a team like Liquid fall out of these, it worries me. I wonder what's going on with their psyche. Are they just not feeling the practice? Do they feel like it's a team thing? Do they need a break? On the other hand, you look at a team like TSM, they're having fun with their composition, they're trying something new, they're charging these fights, they're playing into their advantages. So you really start to look at these things and admire the teams that are starting to do really well in these weeklies. I really do appreciate the people that go and attend these and continue to put in the work, because this is what it's all about, and this is how you see improvements as a team for real.
All right, here we are heading into game number 4. We started off, of course, with Complexity there, the winners of game number 3. End up getting the first place along with 12 kill points. And now on board with Yeet Squad. Oh boy, the flank comes out, I think, as Lane gets that first knock onto 6. And Yeet Squad not having the best day over here, but Bowser finding a nice little flank as he does connect with that alternator, has to reload that wingman, but Wig is here to back him up. His arm shield does get cracked, and that soaked up enough damage for him to push forward, but he doesn't connect with the rest of the wingman shots. There it is. Bowser will be able to clutch that up and keep them alive for now, but the third party is here, and he's not going to be able to get the res. They're not going to be able to reset. He will be finished off. It's Mandy, Nasky, and Dolphin that came in for the 3P.
Is that two teams landing over at sorting? Unless that's the tree team that's rotating that early, that has to be so frustrating for Yeet Squad that you get landed on in the first game, you win the fight. Doesn't matter. They continue to land there over and over again. But you know who's going to be loving this circle? It's going to be CLG and Madness's team, who we're on board with right now. Powwow, Vaxlon, and Madness. They have the caustic. They're going to have as much loot as they want. They're also going to have priority on whatever building that they want as well.
Yeah, so currently, I'm double checking the standings. They are in third with 37 points, but Roga right behind them with 32. So again, those two teams playing very standard right now, and it looks like MVP will continue to do so, to play this like it's any other tournament setting, even though the lobby isn't as healthy as we're used to seeing. It's 16 squads remaining here, and the first ring hasn't even started closing.
Yeah, and this is going to be good for a lot of teams to go, oh, wow, what a spray coming in from Hal, just making Huge Gorilla look like a complete noob running out in the open right there. R9 Prowler coming out for Hal. Reps and Albrule rocking some pretty solid armors as well, and that's not good for Complexity and the rest of the lobby. You see Hal heating up that quickly to start this game.
Oh boy. TSM just continuing on with this momentum that they've been bringing every single game. Only got slowed down in game number 2. Remember, they won game number 1, then took second here in our last match. Now on board with Complexity, though, as they're making their rotation. It looks like, will they go in early, or are they just picking up extra loots over here by Skyhook's connector? It might be a fight that they're coming in. They do see a team on the balloon. Shouldn't be showing presence. They should allow them to just drop onto them right now. Getting some decent damage off is Monsoon with that R301, but I believe that might be TSM that's just going past them.
Oh my gosh, great spray there from Monsoon, taking that player down to no shields. But they're just going to be able to get away with their life, and they're going to start to rotate over towards the zone. And that could be TSM just making a call to say, hey guys, we already got a couple early kill points. Let's just go set up. Skyhook's a fairly active circle, but if you can get into a good spot, maybe like the middle area, like MVP was going to hold, then you can get a decent amount of kills. So we'll see what happens here. Is TSM knows that they just do need to have a couple of placement points here to secure the dub, and as long as they keep a look at what's going on in the kill feed and they don't see complexity just going completely buck wild, there's really nothing to worry about for them. And a lot of teams again now starting to make their way over towards Skyhook. There is plenty of room in Skyhook for a lot of teams to go and set up, but you don't want to be one of those teams rotating in late and having to split a building with somebody.
Yeah, Smile, I thought they might have been in a little bit of trouble there as we did see Complexity were taking that rotation, and I think it might have just been timings where they missed each other. And so they do get into the safety of Skyhook for now. It's just all about which building are they going to be able to take. With already 4 squads out of this lobby, a lot of these buildings are going to be free for them to take. I think they're not going to meet much resistance here as we are on board with TSM. And yeah, they were the team that took the balloon. They are inside Skyhook proper.
Yep, middle, and that's exactly what we were saying. Is this is a good spot to hold, and TSM realizing the situation again. There's no reason to play on the outskirts, run around, and possibly get third partied. But we have young Hong Kong over here on the Revenant doing his best Albroli impression already with 2 kills, so he's looking strong. Gonna have to leave his boy Spaceman though out in no man's land, and this is a really solid spot to hold, but it's very difficult to hold it for a very long time. It's going to be the market. You see the gen coming down, fences coming down, bubble as well. Big fight over here, but you have to be careful. There's going to be plenty of teams to be able to third party this one. Not sure who that is running around in a straight line, but a great thermite coming out. And again, this is a very important fight, but it has to be cleaned up quickly.
Yeah, we know that TSM are laying in wait. If they've got the ultimates, if they got the fort, they might actually push onto this one right now. Here they are. We got a big fight going down as Monsoon gets a kill onto Tech. And so every team, it looks like, just fighting across the board. Half the lobby is going to be dead in about a minute here as Mini with a decent spray down on that R9 pulls out the wingman, will finally get the knock, and it looks like Sumo will go down, and they finish off that squad, but 2 members have gone down. Does get that res onto Yoshi, Mario, Luigi. Where's Petty Boss? He's on the other side of the wall, and so they will be able to recover this with that fast res. They'll have armor swaps as well.
Nice job. Doesn't even have to use his ult. Thought he should, but instead it's going to be dropped coming in with the cleanup, and that's why it's so important to throw that down before you start rezzing Mini, and he's not going to be able to do so. So all of Rogue just coming in, picking up free kills. It's going to be sniped down, getting knocked by Tempo. That's going to be a Revenant as well. So Rogue finally getting aggressive, and now they're going to be like, guys, this is why we don't fight.
That's what I'm talking about. TSM, they had that center position in town. And so if any fight breaks out around them, they could just port right onto it. And it doesn't even look like it was a port. 57% there on his next one. So I think they just ran it down. And so they were able to get it. Well, sure, they give up that position. TSM, they got rid of one of the big opponents here in this lobby in Rogue. So now we're down to 11 squads, 29 players remaining. First ring still hasn't finished closing.
Yeah, and Skyhook's going to be fairly free, and a spot for TSM to just go and freely third party now too. And we were talking about it. This long fight that's happening over towards market, it's not a secluded building. There's not caustic traps all over the place. There's no Watson fences. This is just a free third party for a team like TSM, and they take full advantage of that, as we do see a Bangalore somewhere
Who's
on
the
the
Bang?
I don't know, but if it doesn't have Bloodhound with it, I'm not interested.
All right, we do have the Gibraltar ultimate coming out from Nasky here, as they're just gonna reset this fight. But yeah, Nasky already starting it all off. He got that knock onto Mike. He fails that climb up, but it's okay. They're not able to recover quite yet, as they're just stuck inside and getting hunted down by the Great Danes here. They'll be finished off, and that's gonna be another squad down, as we also see Complexity. Just, man, they are not stopping whatsoever. Another fight here on the northwest side of the map is Complexity. They're on the low ground. Got to be careful. Reptar was burning just a little bit. He's going to back off to the safety of the rest of his squad. They don't need to force the issue here. Again, they need to keep up pace, though, with TSM, which is what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and playing around Monsoon, I'm sure Shiny was calling out exactly what to do in this situation. You see Scout Mastiff in the hands of Reptar. Seems like he loves to run a Sniper Mastiff combo, whether it's going to be the Scout, whether it's going to be the Charge Rifle. Really starts to pay off for these guys as they land down the opening damage. They pop the On the Hunt, and then they start the chase. I saw during the ALGS, they chased a team all the way from Mirage through Train into the tunnel, all the way back through Mirage, going down even over towards Harvester. So these guys do not give up on their kills. They take aggression when they see it, but they also back off in certain situations like that where they feel like they could get third partied or it just doesn't make sense because they're weak. So smart play by Complexity. Again, it's coming down to Complexity and TSM. You also have MVP that's been in this race as well. So look out for these three teams going into the final circle.
They've got to be careful here. Naval Tempo and Sir Lissalot, I believe TSM was just to their northeast, might be just below them right now. No, they're actually all, still holding. And is that Complexity that's up to their northwest here? That would be a huge pickup. Get rid of them, get them out of the lobby, and take a look at this Squirrel's Nest coming up from TSM. They've got all the meds that they could ever use.
Yeah, definitely. It's Complexity that is over in this little choke point area, and it's going to be Monsoon busting out the portal here, going on over towards Market, where you saw that just complete bloodbath of a brawl. And now he's going to be able to call out to his teammates that there's a lot of boxes over here. So expect them to check for some ammo here, maybe some extra cells or ultic cells, whatever they can grab up, because they are taking a decent amount of damage and they are playing fairly aggressive. And when you do so, you start to run a little low on the healing. But 16 cells for Monsoon, he's not too worried. R301 Mastiff in his hands. We're seeing a lot of people bust out the R301 with the 2X, one of my favorite guns and combinations. Instead of the R9, we see a lot of R9 2X players as well. But the market without a Watson or a Caustic is a little scary to hold because it's so open. So instead, they're going to rotate over towards a building, evaluate the situation. 8 squads left. They could easily third party something. No reason to be the main focus right now if you're Complexity.
Surprising rotates coming out from Mandy, Nasky, and Dolphin here. As last time we saw them, they were over by that beacon building along the train tracks, and now they're all the way on the western side of the map here. Looks like they're trailing behind a team. Invisible Watson fences, so they do have to be careful of that, as they'll just actually walk around it from the left-hand side instead. No real safe way to try and climb up over that, but, ooh, Dolphin got spotted out, does have to back away. But again, they do have a pocket to work with here as they just go ahead and clear that trap now. The jig is up as we're on board with Pride, Premier, and Troggy, but Pride's already gone down, and it looks like they're signing the retreat. Pride, it's going to be TSM with that push, and they've already started off so well, picked up a lot of kill points. They're just looking to increase that total.
Yeah, and a lot of teams being wiped off. So every team that goes away are going to be more. There it is. They found the bird's nest, and they're able to also find out where that death totem was. It's going to be Reptar taking the portal by accident. I think he was just trying to scout out what was going on. And look at all the meds going on down there. They're like, what happened here, guys? But it is going to be the push onto the building. It's going to be Pickett, Crummy, and Pickett, Crummy, and Rakanishu taking on Mandy and the Danes, as you were saying. But looks like the fight isn't going as planned. Great massive shots coming out from Nask and Mandy.
Ooh, it's all up to Rakanishu, but he will go down. And so the Great Land Party is still succeeding for them so far. They had one huge game earlier on today. We're a little bit quiet in games number 1 and 3, but maybe this is the pop-off game. Maybe this puts them into the top 3 while they're enjoying their little bit of a holiday.
Looks like a lot of loot happening over here for Sir Lifts a lot. He's lifting a lot of this loot over towards the ceiling. Probably getting swole from that as well, as there is a decent amount. So Monsoon, Complexity, and the rest of these guys are just going to continue to wait for more action to take place in front of them. We do know that the team with the Caustic is going to stay. Sir Lift Slot team is going to stay put. They have a good spot. There's no reason for them to move. The team in the middle most likely going to stay put as well. So the biggest threat to Complexity is the team that's right next to them in the building. So they have to worry about what team composition is this? Is this going to be TSM? Are they going to charge us? Or are we going to take this fight if we get some armor checks on these guys? And that's big for them to just land a couple of shots and find out what these guys are working with.
Being on the Bloodhound is just so good for this urban environment where there are so many levels to so many buildings, you can easily lose track. It's difficult to tell what level people are on just by using your own ears, but instead you have got that visual confirmation as well. MVP, though, still playing this as standard as you can, but their armors are suffering for it. Two blues and a white up against golds and purples down the line for every other squad.
Yeah, and now Naski's gonna make his move. This is a pretty good situation for these guys, but as you can see, Naski doesn't have any ammo. So he's got the scout, but he has 32 shots. So they're gonna have to find some scraps somewhere or share what's going on because nobody has any ammo on this team right now. This is their final fight. Oh, is this nade gonna stick? Great grenade coming in from Andy. I don't think he's gonna be able to connect, but he should be sharing some of his ammo with his boy.
I think right now is just let's frag out. It doesn't matter. Oh, Mandy goes down. It's gonna be reps to finish him off, and we do see a battle inside the bubble. But Hal will finish off Dolphin with that Mastiff TSM. They are not slowing down one bit whatsoever. As soon as they stabilize here, a little bit difficult as I believe that's Complexity. The other side playing over by Market as a nade does sneak its way in, but he's safe for now. And never mind, they've got plenty of Mets to work with. Nothing to worry about. I forgot about the Squirrel's Nest.
Yeah, and unless Complexity picks up every kill in the rest of this lobby and the dub, I feel like the amount of kills that TSM has right now mathematically is going to give them the win based on the placement and the kill points. So great job to TSM really putting it together. We won't call it quite yet, but I feel like the math is there and the confidence is there for these guys to be able to secure this one. So I'm just very impressed overall with TSM and the way that they've been able to deal with the amount of aggression in this lobby. And yes, they are the ones putting the aggression on, but there's a lot of opportunities to get third partied. And there's so many team fights that happened for them to be able to win all of them so cleanly. It's just a testament to how skilled they are as a team and individuals. So very impressive day for these guys overall. And, whether it's going to be this composition or another one that they use, I feel like that they should stick with this one and really play into their style of being very strong team fighters.
Yeah, and we have to, of course, keep noting that this is a huge fundamental shift in how TSM have played for well over a year, where it was very macro oriented, avoiding a lot of the early fights or taking very smart, very calculated early fights, and then moving into center position. Now it's about closing this out, and I think this is some of the best practice that they need. Finishing it all off with this composition. A lot of people doubted what this composition can do in the late game, that it doesn't offer enough in the team fights, but we're seeing TSM really shutting up a lot of the naysayers for this comp.
Yeah, and more teams are going to adapt this. And I'm curious to see if Tech and his team, who's been the only other consistent crypto player, if they want to go and ditch the, Pathfinder Wraith combination and go and try to take Pathfinder and turn that into Revenant. Because if you're able to combine the Revenant with the crypto, it's just that much scarier. And, not to continually talk about TSM, but you have to really give them props for figuring this out. It's not easy to do so, and it's not easy to accept changes, especially when you're so strong at a certain character and legend like you have Albrelli and reps on Watson and on Pathfinder. This is something completely new for these guys. It takes a lot of training, it takes a lot of cohesion, and it's exciting to see them have this kind of new flame kind of ignited for this competition that they have of trying to be the best, and they're willing to even put down their best characters for something that's a little unorthodox and make it work.
Oh, they spotted one out. Is this the red? I believe it's just the solo that was on the north hand side. Currently, it's four full squads, and it is Trocky. He does get finished off. Another kill point going over for TSM. And like you said, it might be mathematically impossible at this point for Complexity. I don't want to, of course, shut the coffin door right there. But
But you look, they
Complexity
don't have
need
any
to find
kills.
yeah, Complexity need to find kills. And they just haven't had enough. TSM, we've been seeing every time we go over to them, they at least pick up one. And so right now we're still at a standstill as we see the next ring pulling on over. And the last time we checked the map, there was actually no teams in that building. I don't know if anyone's made that rotation quite yet. This is going to be the hardest rotate, though, for Team MVP, who are playing that center tower now, as they've got to run across a lot of open ground to try and make it in.
But this is why again I love what TSM's doing. They've recognized this is the perfect game to see what's going on because we look at the Skyhook circle, we look at a team like MVP and we say, hey, this is great for them. But they have not done anything besides sit in a building and watch TSM in the kill feed over and over again. And I think TSM was tired of other teams like Aim Assist and other teams playing the edge that were doing the same when they feel like they're just as strong, if not better, at team fighting. As we now have this massive fight happening over towards Market, and that's why the contention for Market was so high. And again, no Caustic or Watson teams holding this, so it's just going to be TSM duking it out, gatekeeping the rest of these teams that are stuck inside the zone.
Yeah, MVP taking a lot of zone damage right now as they finally do port in. Albraleely's already used that death totem. Here comes the first EMP of the fight as Albraleely will get cleared, but Imperial Hal still has that death totem up now. They've got the information as well from the drone, letting them know exactly where they are, all stacked up, and that just means a lot of damage coming out from Imperial Hal. It's going to be Madness to first go down on MVP as Monsoon is taking that fight. So 3v3s going across the board as it's going to come down to what looks like Complexity versus TSM for the final fight.
As it should be, the two top teams right now, in my opinion, duking it out. We know how many kills TSM has. We know Complexity definitely needs these kills and the dub. It's going to be Sir Lifts-A-Lot and Navalo fighting on the outskirts. They have that gold armor swap, but it's fairly weak, so he just drops it right back for the blue. And Complexity resetting the fight as well as they go look for more resources. So it's a 3v3v2 right now. And right now, TSM and Complexity looking like the favorites to take this.
All right, they do scan TSM on the other side of the fence here, but they're just playing off the loot currently as they will be able to heal that up to full. We're seeing the armor swaps coming out. They should pull out a few just in case, but I don't know if they really got the time. It's so difficult to really want to take your eye off the prize currently now as it's a 3v3v2, and it's this duo that's on the other side of Complexity that's going to make this fight so difficult right now. TSM wrapping around to the other side, and so this might actually give them some breathing room to work with. We do have some like UI errors, so we don't know exactly where the full last circle is, but
It's
with
right
the way
where-
that TSM's moving, yeah, it should be right here.
Yeah, it looked like it was where Complexity was, but it seems like it's more or less where TSM is. So pretty interesting that happened right there. But it's all about which team's going to third party the hardest here. And it looks like the EMP coming in, that's going to weaken all of the players. Hits every single one. That's going to be Albraleely finding Sir Lifts-A-Lot. We know one more player on this team, and then the full Complexity squad waiting in the wings. They're only going to pop out once they see that this whole team has been wiped. That happens, and here's the final battle.
Yeah, our top two teams, TSM versus Complexity, but TSM have them roped into the corners now as Hal gets that first spray down. Reptar does go down as well, and it's just Monsoon left in his lonesome, stuck at the tri-tip grill crying as he gets finished off, and TSM will take the win. Congratulations, and they did it in style.
They really did. So many kill points throughout that, almost probably setting a record for our Esports Arena weekly tournaments. And even though they didn't win every single game, they came darn close to it. I believe it was first, die early, second, first. So just ridiculous placement points on top of what would possibly be a record for our kills. Fantastic job by TSM. Very well played by all the teams, but it was just too much aggression, too much crypto, too much Hal getting in there with the R9, and then Al really following up with the death totem and the great shots.
Yeah, and so we're going to go ahead and take a short break. While we do, of course, have to go through formalities. We're going to tally up all the scores to give you our final results of the evening. And so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after this break. All right, welcome back, guys. We have the final results for the Esports Arena North American Weekly. I've already forgotten what number we're on so far, but it's been an exciting journey so far, especially the 4 games that we had today, T Squared.
Yeah, holy cow. We haven't seen this much aggression in a super long time. Just a complete battle going on from the beginning of game one all the way to the end of game four. But I think we know who won after seeing that last game.
Yeah, and so TSM are going to be able to take that win with 84 points, and Complexity just kind of got left in the dust there. I think the split was like 13 points or something, differentiating maybe 7 heading into game number 4, but TSM really never let go. They got into the middle of Skyhook there at the end of game 4, or in the middle of game 4, and were able to find the fights while Complexity were struggling to. These are two different compositions that have the same goal, but it was just TSM that were able to find the fights.
Yeah, averaging over 20 points a game. Absolutely ridiculous. That's a win plus 8 kill points on top of that. Some teams didn't even get 8 kills throughout all 4 games because TSM was just so darn good throughout the time. They really came to play today. Complexity CLG falling right behind them. But now we start to see exactly what TSM has in mind in the way that they want to play Apex Legends. And they're going to set the bar for the aggression that all these teams are going to have to deal with.
Yeah, so 16 kills in game number 1, 2 kills in game number 2, 17 kills in game number 3, and then they closed it out with another 16 kill game. And so they are your champions this week, walking away and splitting $500. But of course, Complexity and MVP will also be placing in the money. So congratulations to those 2 squads as well. Complexity in second place with $300, and of course, MVP with 200. And so, MVP still playing the standard, showing that it can work out. But again, right now, with this kind of like Zerg Rush compositions that are coming out, it's hard to match the kill points that teams are just able to put up.
Yeah, and it's not even, like people use this word cheese, right? It's not even cheese. It's just straight up aggression. It's not like some crazy pick that we've never seen before. It's just a pick into this meta that is being mastered by one of, if not the best teams in the world. So you have to look out for it. And the only other team that can really match that aggression, in my opinion, is a team like Complexity. I'm looking at a team like MVP, like Yeet Squad, like Rogue, like Liquid, to maybe figure out exactly what they want to do. Do they want to play the old style, or do they want to play more aggressive? If that's the case, you have to switch your composition up. And I'm not sure other teams are ready to do that.
Yeah, and time is running out. We've got ALGS, the last summer circuit to qualify. And so teams have to figure it out. There's not much time left, but at least we've got this for them to practice these compositions. Once again, I want to say congratulations to TSM, Complexity, and MVP, our top 3 for this week. I also want to thank you at home for watching the games and enjoying the stream. If you guys are enjoying it, make sure, of course, to let us know on social media at Esports Arena on Twitter. Make sure you're also following this channel because we've got a lot of competitive action here at the Esports Arena. But I think that's going to do it for us. And so, from everyone here at Esports Arena, from Tom and myself, thank you all for tuning in. We will see you guys next week for another Esports Arena North American Weekly. See you guys then.